Friday night on Ninsi. He passed yakitori stands and massage parlors, a franchise coffee shop called Beautiful Girl, the electronic thunder of an arcade. He stepped out of the way to let a dark-suited Sumerian by, spotted by the Mitsubishi Genotech logo tattooed across the back of the man's right hand. Was it authentic? If it was for real, he thought, he's in for trouble. If it wasn't, it served him right. MG employees above a certain level were implanted with advanced microprocessors that monitored mutagen levels in the bloodstream. Gear like that would get you rolled in Night City. Rolled straight into a black clinic. The Samaritan was Japanese, but the Ninsi crowd was a Gaji crowd. Groups of sailors up and down the port, tense solitary tourists hunting pleasures for no guidebook listed, sprawl heavy showing off graps and implants, and a dozen district species of hustler, all swarming the streets in an intricate dance of desire and commerce. There were countless theories explaining why Chiba City tolerated the Ninsi enclave, but Case tended towards the idea that the Yakuza might be preserving the place as a kind of historical park, a reminder of the humble origins. But he also saw a certain sense in the notion that technology requires outlaw zones, that Night City wasn't there for its inhabitants, but for a deliberately unsupervised playground for the technology itself. Was Linda right, he wondered, staring up at the lights? Would Wage have him killed to make an example? It didn't make much sense, but then Wage dealt primarily in prescribed biologicals, and they said you had to be crazy to do that. But Linda said Wage wanted him dead. Case's primary insight into the dynamics of street dealing was that neither buyer nor the seller really needed him. A middleman's business is to make himself a necessary evil. The dubious niche Case had carved himself in for the criminal ecology of Night City had been cut out with lies, scooped out at night time with betrayal. Now, sensing that its walls were starting to crumble, he felt the edges of a strange euphoria. The night before, he delayed the transfer of a synthetic glandular extract, retailing it for a wider margin than usual. He knew Wage hadn't liked that. Wage was his primary supplier, 9 years in Chiba, and none of the few Gaji dealers had managed to forge links with rigidly satisfied external establishments beyond Night City's borders. Genetic materials had hormones trickled down to Ninsi along with an intricate ladder of fronts and blinds. Somehow, Wage had managed to trace something back once, and now he enjoyed steady connections in a dozen cities. Case found himself staring straight through a shop window. The place sold small, bright objects to the sailors. Watches, flick knives, lighters, pocket VTRs, slim stick decks, weighted mankuri chains, and shurikens. The shurikens had also fascinated him, steel stars with knife-shaped points. Some were chromed, others black, others treated with a rainbow surface like oil on water. But the chromed stars held his gaze. They were mounted against the scarlet ultra-suede with nearly invisible loops of nylon fishline, their centers stamped with dragons or yin-yang symbols that caught the street's neon and twisted it. It came to Case that these were the stars under which he voyaged, his destiny spelled out in a constellation of cheap chrome. "Julie," he said to the stars. "Time to see old Julie. He'll know."